fluff or a Graves out of them, but you can expect the Lee Sin being locked away from KT, and maybe just a classic Lee Sin Ashe special here. Lots of engage, utility, strong early game jungler, and at this point, I think that the teams are really starting to get a holder of at least the first half of the draft for what they're going to select.
Yeah. What do you think about this Galio for the Tigers? Do you think Mickey will finally join the others and pick that up? Because so far he's played 5 picks, and none of them are Galio. He's played Syndra, Jace, Orianna, Cassiopeia, Taliyah. He's got 1 win on Syndra.
I think Mickey's probably allergic to Galio in the mid lane. Without the ability of having kill pressure, you just don't want to see that pick go onto him, especially because ROX do rely on him at times to carry. And so if you put him on a Galio and he ends up having one of the performances where it's like, okay, he's actually doing really well. Can he do it? Will we be able to make Mickey our rock up? Actually, he's Galio. No, he won't.
Please no. Please
so,
no. I think a lot of fans are calling for that too. And we are going to see Mighty Bear. He's not going to be Spidey Bear this time because Elise is banned. He will still be Smitey Bear perhaps if he does steal another Baron. He's going to be picking up that Graves. And then a Braum pick there for number 3 for the ROX Tigers.
So already the engage out of ROX being kind of apparent. Orianna might be going for Pawn's Way, and he did see a lot of success with this pick. One of the most standard mid laners will have pretty good matchups into everything now that Syndra has been locked away, and so far just going back to a really standard composition from KT, which is what you want to see from a team that is struggling to get its footing. Just go with a composition that doesn't have any wonky things. We don't want to see some fizzes again. Just go with something standard so that the play is really what's showing up. And the Varus being locked away, some AD carry targets. You can expect the AD be locked away as a first rotation from KT and saving that counter pick for Smeb in their second 2 picks, or last 2 picks.
So let's see what else is banned out here. Tigers taking a little bit of time. Lots of Smeb fans out there. Oh, Crumbs.
Whoa, what does it
say?
Fighting! Yeah,
she's shaking it too much. What does it say?
Yeah, fighting.
Vegas? She said she was cheering.
No,
for
you
Vegas?
Don't talk about Vegas. Listen,
something like that.
I never did anything in Vegas. All right.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
What happens in Vegas, stay in Vegas. I didn't expect it to follow me all the way here to Seoul, man.
Hey, it was in Korean. She was trying to save the foreign fans. I let them in on it. Sorry, Crumbs. Either way, we are going to see the 280 bans from the side of KT, really trying to target Songyun here, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so AD carry is locked away. You can possibly see an Ashe here being the first pick from Deft. I really hope that's a pick, and so the Caitlyn would most likely be what comes out of ROX next, but what are they feeling for their bans here? It has to be towards top or AD carry, and it will be that Kled locked away. We did see how good Cuvee was on it, so if you can consider that Smeb can have a performance that exciting on it, then it makes sense for the pick to be banned, as not a whole lot of people have practice with it.
Look at that, they picked the Kalista up right away, so not an Ashe pick. They are going to go with that Kalista Thresh in the bot lane, becoming more popular. Taking away Varus and Xayah, don't want to face against that. But it looks like ROX just wants to pick up the Caitlyn.
And this time around, at least it has combination with the best laner for Kalista, the Thresh. Just such an ability to disengage and making it nearly impossible to be ganked, considering that not only do you not have an Ashe to set things up, not only does your jungler not bring CC, you have a skill shot reliant support to lock down Kalista Thresh, who have Lantern and Fate's Call to disengage. So you can expect a lot of non-action happening into the bottom lane in terms of ganks from the ROX Tigers. And so this final pick, yep, the Ahri, that's exactly what they need. They need to transition to something that can put pressure and have the ability to kill somebody out that's not in the bottom lane. So I love the Ahri pick here, and it makes sense for the Kled and the Fiora ban. I'm just saying that we don't want to deal with these physical top laners in the top side, and with Kennen locked away, maybe a Renekton, or it's going to be the Rumble.
Yeah, another pick that Smeb can play quite well. And it's funny to see Mickey on his 6th unique champion in the mid lane. I think he must have played the most unique champions out of any player so far in LCK. I mean, Max might be one of those guys as well, but I think he played a couple of games of Thresh, a couple of games of Blitzcrank.
At some point, you wonder if he's just doing it to kind of pat it onto his statistics as, yeah, you know what, maybe we're not going to win, but I am the mid laner with the most mid lane champions played. And It's going to be the Shen, actually, for Smeb this time around. So
okay.
Lots of defensive action in the bottom side that can also be used quite aggressively as well. There it is.
You were talking about the calligraphy, bringing it out for deft.
It's quite beautiful there, actually.
With a marker. That's
with a llama to boast.
Calligraphy llama.
The Kali Llama.
You guys have seen it all here at LCK. I can't wait to see this Ahri versus Orianna mid lane matchup. This isn't 7-11, so the Ahri didn't get nerfed just yet. And generally it does come down to the skill matchup, I'd have to say. It'll depend on where the junglers are as well. You can see Mighty Bear is going to be on this Graves.
Yeah, Lee Sin on Orianna's side is definitely in their favor. You pretty much always want the better jungler when any of these matchups, and that's why they say the jungler is such a crucial role, just because it influences everybody else just so much. And when you have Dragon's Rage as an ability, you can pretty much win every 2v2 as long as you can outplay it.
Yeah. The other part of this is that they have Smeb on the Shen this time, so if Ahri wants to go deep, no doubt Shen will be there to help out the Orianna. But either way, guys, those are the compositions that you see on your screen as we jump into game number 1 right now between ROX Tigers and KT Rolster. Both fan groups showing up pretty big today.
Yeah,
shout out to them.
Popstar Ahri could not be more relevant as we see her be played in Korea. I believe that's a white chroma on her.
Yeah.
It's really important that they have chromas for this skin, otherwise it just would not fit the theme of dancing groups.
Yep, they got to make sure it looks as much like Girls' Generation as possible, as she does do the dance, I believe. And we also have Darkstar Orianna in the mid lane for Pawn. Showing that off.
I believe that's also Darkstar Thresh, so lots of darkness coming out from KT this time around. What does it all mean, though?
Even Callista is kind of like a dark champion. You can see that skin that she's got on as well. And the glowing eyes just glaring into your soul. Very evil looking.
Yeah, and she has yet to use her bind already. Not sure why she's just using a white here past the level 1 once the scouting has been utilized. Has yet to pierce Mata's heart.
So not the best leash with the Shen for the Lee Sin, but he's going to stick around and hit a bunch of those Raptors. You can see a nice little leash from Linderong there for Mighty Bear on his Raptors.
Oh, wait, no, they have binded. My bad.
You're just not evil, Crumbs. That's why you can't see it.
I'm flattered. In the meantime, junglers will be starting in the Raptor camp, moving towards the red side, and so they'll most likely just end up mimicking each other. Not a whole lot of kill pressure in the top side of the map, so you can really just expect these guys to make their ways towards the bottom side of the map. And you have to imagine that this will favor KT as they are red side, and so Lee Sin will finish bottom, whereas Mighty Bear will finish in the top side, but instead he chooses to alternate his route with just a red side clear into a recall that will net him that longsword, control ward, and the early vision can really mitigate a lot of the early moves that Lee Sin might be trying to make.
Does even throw down a ward, does Mighty Bear in his own jungle, wants to be as safe as possible.
That's a little bit too safe, actually. I think that might be giving a little bit too much credit, but he has to respect the fact that Pawn is pushing just very aggressively into this middle lane, and so because of that, the ward is a little bit warranted. However, I think we just met our wishes as we have the first start of an Infernal Drake tonight, and yep.
The cannon, man. So
just use your abilities on it. Just use the abilities. It's so worthwhile.
Burn all your mana. Just do it. Don't question it. Well, just pushing back. Mickey actually very happy to take the trade, even into the Thunderlords, to get one auto. Not sure about that one, but...
The worst trade deal in the history of trade deals here.
Yeah. I wonder what it's like to be a pro gamer. You might have some insight into this, but like when the camera is on you, you have to assume the observer is watching your lane at all times. And then when you mess up like that, it's like, oh,
you
the
always
cringe.
assume that the observer is always on you. It's very seldomly that they don't catch something stupid that you do. I mean, maybe that just
must be the way it feels.
career, but yeah, I guess that's the way it feels. You know what? There's a reason why I'm not doing it anymore.
Couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure was too much. But we have Mighty Bear making his way topside. He's clearing the Scuttle Crab, and so is Score. So maybe they're thinking that something could be happening, considering that Lindaranx has no mana. So he's going to try to shove this wave out, and he could be in danger here without any mana. Oh, Lee Sin did get scouted, but he did not respect it.
Oh, he's going to flash here. There's the flash taunt. That's the easiest follow-up as ever. He's going to flash in to Score. There's the first blood. Meanwhile, Pawn is going on a little vacation into the enemy jungle.
The Raptors! Oh, he's going to be able to turn?
He's trying to speed up here. He's going to shield, but it doesn't look like he has enough mana. Mighty Bear is on the chase. Will Pawn actually survive?
There's the Lantern. There, he's going to get Lanterned out. He's going to be okay.
Oh, the Flash Lantern, and he survives. Nice team play from KT. And again, the bot lane was pushed in, so the bot lane of ROX could not respond in time, and that's why Mata gets there earlier.
And the poor communication there from ROX. You would have hoped that maybe Graves was helping out the Gallia to push out. Instead, they try to go for the gank onto the mid lane, but seemingly we don't really get to see what happened, but it looks like Pawn managed to just outplay the 1v2 as he's able to really turn Mickey and have him run for the hills and get surrounded by 6 little Raptors.
Poor Raptors didn't want any part in that.
Here we go. Yeah, so he's extended. Oh, he flashes over the wall. Yeah. Yep.
So that's just the great escape.
Oh, look
boy.
at that. The Raptors. The chicken farm.
The missed orb, though, is like, it's giving me a migraine as an RA player. I'm sure Mickey would 1v1 me easy peasy with one hand, but like, that's gotta hurt. Missing that one. Definitely could have had the damage to follow up, and this means that Pawn gets out of here with the Lantern.
Great roam there from Mata, using pressure into the bottom lane, and they don't miss anything out of that just because the wave was already crashing, so Deft is still capable of keeping a tiny little CS lead.
Yeah, so just the first blood going over to KT. Small little CS leads across the board for everyone on KT. Except the jungles, but as you said last time we cast, it's kind of hard to look at the jungle CS count and really see where these guys are at.
Now there at least is no flash onto Pawn, so Mickey does have the opportunity of going for a kill at level 6. The only issue is that they most likely would need either Mighty Bear to beat level 6 himself in order to burst him past Smeb's shield, or to just bring a third man into the mix. But the vision from KT respects this, and as such, they clear out the ward and have double controls on the bot side of the river. They have a green on the top side, and it's going to be really tough to get that. Here comes Stand United.
Oh, there it is. Can they burst through the shield? It doesn't look like it. The taunt onto Graves. Mighty Bear getting really low. Pawn as well. In comes Linderong from the top lane, trying to make this a 1-for-1. Very, very close, but the Lantern from Mata coming all the way from bot lane is going to save Smeb's life. And that means just 1 kill for KT, and everyone on KT survives.
Oh, Mata is just denying everything for ROX Tigers, and they just feel like they're so close, but that's just what you have to consider when you're dealing with a Thresh.
This guy, he is so on fire. The last time we saw him play, too, he was creating those plays to allow them to come back in the series, and man, he's playing so well here in LCK Summer. 7
minutes in, and he's already part of the 2 biggest plays. We'll take another look right there, dashing over the wall. You know that he doesn't have flash, but it's not enough. Through the Stand United, the burst is down, and there's just not enough there. And there's also the shield from Score. Everybody's in this party.
Mickey actually may have gotten Pawn there had he hit the Q, by the way.
Yeah.
Smeb with the escape, thanks to Mata.
Little nuances there. I think the Spirit's Refuge actually allowed to block one of the final shots that might have taken him out. So good use of that there from Smeb.
So everything looking pretty dandy so far for KT. Fine and dandy.
Yeah, El Jungler that Mata is used to playing with.
Even without them, they're feeling dandy.
Who now, out of all places, is playing in North American Challenger Series. So, not...
It's funny how things change.
Funny is definitely the word.
Wow.
You got Pawn roaming around river.
This looks like the spring top lanes where it's just like, we don't really need to see this.
I think it's just Galio though. That's what he does. He just denies everything that you have, and now
he just
ROX
denies
for a
fun,
lane
man.
swap. They're swapping out the lane, so they recognize that they just don't want to be in this anymore. They're trying to make something proactive happen. So I like the move so far, but will they be able to pick Smeb up without anybody here to proc it? Just be patient. They probably could have had them had they waited. So instead, they're trying to go for a turret trade.
The race is on, and with the red buff on
Yeah.
Mighty Bear, I think they should be able to get this top turret first.
Yeah, I think they have it.
Bigger wave down in bot, but
Yeah.
more people on the red buff in top will offer that first blood turret to the Tigers.
Good proactive move by them there. But instead
Infernal.
for the first brick, the Infernal, as you mentioned it, that's a really good trade, though, considering that you have Kalista and Orianna that, as your main damage threats with so much protection, will surely be able to make a lot of use out of this one. But Mighty Bear,
He showed himself on the ward accidentally. I think he might have been able to get away with this had he not shown him. Meanwhile, Mickey going to trade ult for ult here, but everybody on KT is on the chase. Mighty Bear, he spots this and will just back off, not able to take the Rift Herald.
he shows, and then KT makes a beeline for that direction, and as such, he has to respond, has to back off, and a trade that could have gone the way of ROX just ends up being not quite so favorable, while KT doesn't get the red steel, the blue steel right away, but
All the newest sounds coming to you guys here on the Spo TV broadcast from Crumbs.
That's a Spanish word. That's in Spanish.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It just spills.
There you go.
But what? Okay, he's going in. The carries are in the back here, though.
Will it come in? Nope. Shen will actually pick that up, and we are going to have a forced fight. Nice collateral damage. That's going to be 2 kills going over to the ROX Tigers.
Pawn's in trouble now, though.
We do not have the Spirit Rush from Mickey because he had to use it earlier on.
And one thing that we learned about Herald, that we learned when it first came out, is that if you ever commit 5 people to it, probably not a good idea. It's almost always an objective that relies on pressure for it to be taken, as opposed to something that you want to be starting a fight on, because you can't really tank it and turn around, especially this early on into the game. And as such, ROX got a nice little advantage there. They're able to mitigate what seemingly was a game that could have escaped their hands. Now they're back in it in terms of kills, and only a 400 gold advantage on the way of KT, which is that first couple of kills.
Yeah, so they do even up that gold, but we'll see what KT can get from the Rift Heralds, and, you know, they do have that Infernal Drake, so we do have a Cloud Drake coming up next. How disappointing.
But the Cloud Drake is going to help in terms of dodging Charm. That's where the value will come from.
There you go.
Look on the bright side for it and such. The other bright side is that Deft has already finished his Blade of the Rune King, so they can just go back down here to the bottom lane, and they know that they can take on any 2v2, seemingly any 3v3, and then when you have Stand United on top of it all, they feel like they're on top of the world here, because Kalista spiking is just so dangerous.
I want to point something out. I was looking at the stats we have here. Mighty Bear is actually 4-0 on Graves so far. I think those are stats coming from spring because, as far as I know, we haven't seen him yet in summer.
That is a much stronger Graves than it is now, however.
For sure. But still, seems like he has a pretty good mastery of the champion.
It makes me hopeful. However, one lame thing that happened to Graves is that while you can auto-cancel your Q, you can no longer combo your ultimate with it.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing, so the Herald will get used, right? Oh, you missed it! He missed that. Like, it's... what's there to say at that point?
Well, exactly what you did say, Crumbs.
Just pointing out the obvious. He missed.
And, that Rift Herald usage again, I mean, it gets the one hit.
They just discard it like it's nothing.
It's like, yeah, I guess we're just going to do it. They don't even look for picks. They're not trying to rotate. They're not trying to trick ROX. They're like, hey, we're all grouping up and we're just going to use it and it's going to get a little bit of damage and that's it.
Nobody has any love for Herald, it seems. They just treat it like a one-time use. There's so much there's so much potential in the relationship with Herald, but with Heraldine, but they just...
Poor Heraldine, man. Just throwing her to the Wolves. Or to the Foxes.
That would have actually been better, maybe. More use out of that one than just that little chunk. Because you know they're not going to revisit mid lane for any siege anytime soon because they have Kalista. And Graves has no qualms about using his collateral damage to really wave clear this turret. Because you really understand just how valuable mid lane turret is at this point. The most important lane in the game. Keeping it alive means that you can stall out if you're in a dangerous position, or you can play even more aggressive. And you know, you could write essays about how good mid lane turret is.
It's pretty good. That's what they say.
Chapter 4.
Yeah.
More uses for mid lane.
I prefer the just one sentence. It's good. It pretty much sums up things. But yeah, I mean, you can see that they're hanging around here. Thresh and Kalista, they're just farming the wave essentially. Nobody else is really trying to make any big moves towards the objective until now.
Yeah, the big move is trading the outers into the bottom lane. Galio has to retreat here, but Score already has the inside number on this, so he might be going down here. Nice flash there. Make sure that he doesn't get insect into the Orianna, and I respect it. They're just able to go for a turret trade, and I like it. Oh, that's a bit of a risky engage. There is Fate's call in. Stand United.
Yep, that's Mickey for you. Either it's going to work out big time or it's going to fail big time. And, well, had he hit the charm, maybe.
There's Stand United. There's Stand United. You just don't go for that.
That's very true.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, like KT specifically drafted the Shen to prevent this from happening so that you can mitigate the pressure that Ahri can go for. And
I guess he felt like I can just chip away and then get away, but not going against Kalista Thresh, unfortunately. And as you said, definitely a mistake.
Oh, damn it, Mickey. We're so hopeful. We always give him the benefit of the doubt, but just when you give a little bit, he just takes it all back.
Well, definitely not doing too well so far. One big glaring mistake. We talked about embarrassment in front of the observer. Well, that was the only action on the map, so everybody watching right now just saw that. Poor guy.
I think he's past that phase at this point. However,
used to it.
The non-embarrassing thing is the macro from ROX. I really am pretty happy to see the rotation that allowed them to get that first brick. They move to the bottom side to secure that turret. Galio recognizes his danger, just flashes away, makes sure that there's no chance of giving up too unnecessary of kills. So the rest of ROX is really just doing a lot of work here, keeping up with KT and not allowing the laning advantages that they seemingly would have gotten had the laning phase continued. And they're able to just accelerate the game, keep the objectives going, and they're going to just get this Cloud Dragon, a dragon that the KT Rolster have never really cared too much about, and typically use these dragons that don't have a whole lot of value in order to bait for picks and for kills. And we're going to take another look at Mickey here, going for another standard Mickey mode.
Yeah, you're right. Even if the charm hits, there's no way.
Lantern.
With the Stand United, the Lantern.
There's heal.
Yeah.
Like,
just a straight-up mistake for sure. Kind of unfortunate. They were doing quite well up until then. And again, it's just, well, it was the kill and the teleport, which definitely hurts. As you can see, the teleport of Linderong is still down. And the ignite of Mickey, apparently. But not working out. Looks like KT wants to group up as 4 now in the mid lane. They do have Shen in the main.
But Linderong can just pop his ultimate, and he most likely will do it once again here just to wave clear. And there it is. Just too easy to defend this turret. And good hook.
Ooh, forcing that flash out. But here comes Mickey. He's looking for the charm. Gonna miss it. Almost hitting Deft. And Linderong for the follow-up with the heroic entrance, but nothing happens.
To no avail there. And this siege is not going to result in a whole lot now that Caitlyn is here. But the trap line is now starting to be laid back into a better position, as opposed to just being in the middle of the lane. So KT really not in the greatest move here for them. Staying in the mid lane now that Pawn has no mana means that they are susceptible to some sort of engage that would not favor them, as they don't have the tools to answer back.
What do you think about the static shiv here on the Caitlyn? I mean, well, we're going to get another replay of this fight where essentially nothing happens. Galio comes in to try to help out Mickey and make that engage very nice. Had they hit the charm, maybe that works, but not really. But what about the static shiv on Caitlyn? Definitely helps with pushing back the waves that KT's trying to push in.
It does. I think it's a bit of a safer wave clear, I'd say, than the Hurricane, and I think that's probably what he's going for. When you hit the static, the charged auto attack, you clear a little bit faster than the Hurricane, which does rely on just more auto attacks in position. So, do I like it? No. Do I see what it does?
You say
yes.
like only positive things, and then you're like, no, it's bad.
That's how you give compliments. You got to go with a compliment sandwich. You start good, good, bad, good. Otherwise, then people just forget about it. But all the effort to defend the turret just goes down after just a very easy push of 2 people. So ROX just being quite undecisive in what they really want to be doing. So far, they gave up their mid-tier 1, and now what can KT do with this advantage? Because that turret's quite meaningful here, and they have many tools. Post 20 minutes, Kalista can obviously take a Baron, and this team is no stranger to going for the biggest objectives very early on.
You can see they're totally denying vision in the river, at least. The Scuttle Crab was 4 rocks, thankfully taken by them.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be able to 2-man this or solo it or just try to take it very quickly, but if they get some kills early on, they're going to fight for it. Here's Stand United. That can come in too.
Yeah, the teleport coming on in from Linderong. Let's see if he can get an engage. Not going to happen. Stand United not burned here as Smeb continues to push, and there's no answer here because Linderong did teleport out, so there will be pressure in the bot lane for KT.
Good move there. They don't even commit the teleport or the Stand United as you bring up, and so it frees up Smeb to do a little bit more. And now the next time they try this engage, they'll have a tremendous advantage onto it. So I like the composure here, especially from Smeb. You know, you never know whose call this is, but because of the angle in which the engage was, in that KT would have to just keep running in a straight line, the engage would have been really difficult for them to turn it effectively. And a fight lost there that's over post 20 minutes can result in a Baron that could just easily tip the game in a way that you don't want to happen this early on, considering that you've been playing relatively clean so far.
Taking a look at the gold numbers here, you can see the mid and the AD positions, or even the top lane, definitely pretty heavily in favor of KT. Not too many kills in this game, just 2 to 3, but about, well, 30 CS up in the top lane and almost 50, or actually more than 50 in the mid lane, and about 30 in the bot lane.
Pon's killing it, going with the throwback Morello's into Luden's build. The mobility is going to do a whole lot when you're dealing with the Ahri. You can dodge out of the charms and lots of the abilities that ROX will try to throw at you when there's such long range. And if you can just keep the distance a little bit better, Orianna's safety, not only does it increase tremendously, but a safe Orianna is one that kills teams.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Stand United, Mata jumping into 4. Here comes the heroic entrance. Mata and Smeb kind of all alone. Finally, the backline begins hitting onto that Linderong. Mata will be saved. Smeb on the run now. Scorer will try to kick them all out, and it looks like, oh, that was so close. Mata survives with about 25 health.
But I gotta say, Mickey's like the least attractive Ahri here. Not hitting any charms. Nobody has any of her tricks. Tries to go for deft again, but misses. Is able to at least catch Score at the tail end of that one, burning his Dragon's Rage and Flash, but Pawn has Cleanse and Flash, so might not be in too much trouble here.
Okay, forcing out the TP. We'll see if he can actually get out alive, and he will be forced to flash away. They're trying to re-engage here as Pawn has to stay, trying to get that kill. There it is, Ace in the hole will pick up the kill.
That was really unnecessary. Felt like he could have gotten away out of that one, but ROX punished well. They saw him there. They try to go for him, and trading summoners on your support for flash onto the mid laner is always going to be worth it. So good moves there from ROX Tigers. We'll take another look here. That's Mata being bold for you. He goes in, has Courage of the Colossus, but the shockwave gets blown right away. And Mickey does a nice job of dodging that one, but when he hits this, here's the charm that he actually hits onto Score there. Good little charm there. At least gets a flash, but oof, that could have been it. That could have been at least something to write home about for ROX.
But still, we're still waiting for this Ahri to show up with some big charms.
And the thing is, I think KT get outscaled at this point. The Caitlyn's damage is going to be really high come later stages in the game. And even though obviously Orianna and Kalista can do a whole lot to melt through a lineup, the tools to get to the backline of Caitlyn, past the Braum, past the Galio, just aren't really there. It's going to be up to Score to go for a crazy kick, and you can't really count on Mata going for a hook that's going to hit a Caitlyn in the later stages in the game. So as long as ROX continue to farm and play the map out well as they have been doing and keep the goal lead at a minimal distance, then I think they're happy with this game.
Yeah, especially if it does go extremely late and Songyun's eventually able to pick up a QSS, well, then you're going to need more than even just a hook, and good positioning should save them come very late game. As obviously if you pick up the QSS, you're delaying some of your more damagey items. We do have an Infernal up next, but that won't be for a while.
Mighty Bear getting a little aggressive, but no follow-up there from anybody. Braum's Wall going to be able to easily get them out of that situation, but Score, Smeb Baby fancying a flank from here. We'll just return to the bottom lane, and he's got a nice CS lead. They're not able to make the most out of the TP advantage that they received early on. I think the kill on Pawns kind of slowed things down, but if Smeb can continue to split push and they can draw Galio away from the bottom lane, a tier 2 would be in order for KT.
They see Score here. He doesn't know that's going to be potentially a kill. Stand United comes on in. At least they get the Stand United.
Really smart move there from Mickey. Just gets the charm, blows the Stand United, and refuses to commit. Just, you know what? I got all I could get. Let's back off now. But a Baron start here from ROX Tigers now that Score has been chunked out. And it's going down relatively quickly. It does get spotted out. Where is Galio and Ari, though? There is no Spirit Rush, so this could be a fight that KT can win.
Definitely can, but look at that line of traps. The teleport from behind, though, is going to be rough to deal with.
They're committing to finish.
They're committing to the finish. Can they actually pick this up? The flash on in. This will go over to the ROX Tigers. Meanwhile, though, Mickey getting caught out. Will he actually go down? The answer is no. Looks like maybe Mighty Bear will be biting the dust here. Looks like only Linderong for now. Perhaps Mighty Bear. He's still trying to kite. Score will catch up. That'll be losing 2 kills, but they get the Baron.
2 for 0 is very worth it. And Mickey, even though we criticize, oh, he's getting picked all the time, what are these dumb moves that he's making, gets the pick onto the jungler. And even though he doesn't kill him, he forces the recall. And because ROX had the position onto the Baron already, they can easily secure it. And a really smart call that's just so time sensitive that if they had started that Baron just a couple of seconds late, Score could have been in a position to steal. The fight could not have gone their way. So just really good awareness from ROX to understand the timing windows that they have. And we'll look at the replay right there. They know that they have to finish. And even though Braum is really low and Thresh flashes in and hits the hook onto the Ahri, it just doesn't matter. The objective had been secured so far. They say retreat. We got what we came here for. And Galio's just a casualty of war.
He's okay. He'll come back to life. And yeah, it was definitely a good heroic entrance there to save Mickey on the Ahri. I think he knocked up 2 or 3 members, very nicely timed by Linderong. So there are moments in ROX's play where you can definitely see, you know, slivers of, I won't call it genius, but smartness perhaps, right? Just a smart play and a lot of these different small moves that sometimes would go ignored in League of Legends, but puts them in a decent spot. They're behind on gold, but only by a little bit, and they have this Baron to follow up and begin pushing.
Yeah, it was a really good move by them, but also when you're a jungler post 20 minutes, you basically never have to go to the bottom side of the map. I think that Score was maybe looking for trying to pick somebody to team up with Smeb. Shen and Lee have lots of damage when you consider that there's a Hydra and a Black Cleaver onto them, but that move just isn't worthwhile when you give up control of the Baron side when teams have the damage to take it down.
Also, when you're just chilling in a brush and you don't really know if there's a ward, you don't have your sweeper up, you're just sitting there like, I hope they don't have a ward against a picking kind of mid in this Ahri. Either way, coming on in here, the Banshee's Veil on Mickey will be taken down by Score. Oh, trying to go heavy here onto Key. They force the flash out, but no shockwave.
Caitlyn's here to fight, though. Nice dodge.
Really nice dodges here, and scores a little bit ahead of
Oh,
everyone else.
it.
There's the stun. Stand United, but they burn him down. That's going to be the kill. And look at Linderong. He delays everybody else, and he's super tanky. Doesn't take any damage. That's a really nice pick onto score here by ROX.
And ROX just making the most out of this Baron, looking for any advantage they can get, running them around the Dragon. And what is Score doing at this point? He just needs to be staying with the team. And every time that he dies, this composition is so reliant on being together and looking for picks that when he goes down, the entire rest of the team just can't do anything about it. And now they're facing potentially losing an inhibitor turret in under 30 minutes here.
Yeah, the Baron still has 25 seconds left. Will they look to make use of it here on this last wave? It looks like the answer is no because of this Infernal Drake. It's coming up. They put on a bit of pressure. They know it's 5v4. Linderong's got his TP. He can come in if KT wants to force a fight. So it looks like this Infernal should go over to the ROX Tigers.
A nice blue buff steal as well as a start onto the Dragon, but Score isn't just here yet. Linderong does have teleport, and there is a ward in the blue buff for him to TP to if they want to. Here it comes.
Yeah, TP up above towards mid lane, but that is going to be the blue buff. And uh-oh, Pawn, he is going to take that the Lantern here. And you can see Kalista back in the back. A really nice shockwave is going to get 2 kills here for KT. Now Key on the run. Mighty Bear trying to do damage. He takes out Pawn. Really nice moves there on the Graves, making the most of a bad situation. But yeah, that's 3 kills taken there against the ROX Tigers. KT only losing Pawn.
That was so close. The kick from Score really saving the fight. They got collapsed on a 5-on-3, but the kick saves it, and then Pawn flashes in, tries to get the Graves, but he just crits him and immediately pops him with the collateral damage. So a good turnaround from KT, still showing signs of life, especially from Score with a great kick. And here it comes again. Look at the teleport. It looks like this is a great fight there for the ROX Tigers. The hook misses, so you know it's on cooldown. They're about to turn onto this, but look at the bottom side of the map. Smeb and Score with a great taunt into a fantastic kick.
The shockwave too. It's just everything lining up, and fantastic angle to come on in. You could see Mighty Bear with the crits and
that was
collateral damage. You were talking about the scaling. Graves, he'll get there eventually too.
It's that Phantom Dancer. It does so much work. One of the strongest items in the game right now. When you try to 1v1 somebody that has that, you're almost always going to be at a disadvantage. Well, actually, you always will be at a disadvantage. It sucks.
99.99% of the time. But yeah, it was a bit of a tumultuous mid-game that we had there, but as it stands...
You're all up on that word tonight.
Oh, I know. It's just flowing out of me right now. But the Tigers, they get their own Infernal Drake, so they even up that. And, you know, they've got a nice late-game comp, as you were mentioning before. And they're still only about 2K behind. So we do have a close game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they're really putting in work here. A much more impressive showing. I thought that, you know, we could see a bit of a more one-sided matchup, considering the early game that was just seemingly so well read from Mata that the ROX just bounced back really well. And now all you have to worry about is how well is KT going to outplay these fights, because you can't really count on that crazy shockwave kick combo every single time.
It's kind of an unfortunate positioning from ROX. You were talking about how you can't really count on that, but I feel like at the end of the day, when you put these two teams head-to-head, the ROX Tigers are going to be the team that get themselves into that kind of a rock and a hard place situation more often than KT.
A ROX and a hard place. You had it was so there.
The ROX is in between the rock and the hard place. Doesn't really add up, Crumbs. I'm not sure.
Listen, anytime we try to involve math into it, we were always going to be at a disadvantage. That's the real Phantom Dancer.
That's the first thing you hear when you go to casting school, as all of us have, of course.
Written on the walls. No
Don't
math.
do math.
Math is not allowed.
It's not your job. Leave that to the statisticians. Wow, the flash hook miss.
Isn't it? You know what? Let's move
Is it
away
not
from
statisticians?
I'm not going to. No comment. I don't want to be right or wrong.
All right. I see. Taking the safe path.
Yeah.
That's admirable of you.
In the meantime, the flash did get, but is there follow-up here?
Oh,
the ultimate gets blown. He does have flash, QSS, and heal.
So he does use that, and in goes the Shen. Shield coming on in here. has not used that heal all, but yet is not able to use it actually. It looks like it's still on cooldown, and Mighty Bear is going to get caught as well. And again, ROX Tigers do get caught in a really disadvantageous position. That's 3 members of them going down. Very unfortunate.
They make a beeline for the Caitlyn, and she just doesn't have the tools to deal with the Guardian Angel on Lee Sin that's building damage, the Shen that also has damage, and all their summoners up, and she has yet to complete an armor penetration item. She went for the QSS to be a little bit safer, but there's really not a target to protect herself from right now. Are you really worried about getting hooked at this stage in the game? If so, probably reassess a couple of other things and such. She will go down, and ooh, that's the advantage that KT really wanted now that they have Baron. And if they can count on making those plays around Caitlyn every single time, there's just not going to be enough damage at a distance to really win the fights for ROX Tigers.
So, as I was saying, the prediction here from Valdez, Songyun, he gets caught out here in a bad spot. Key is not able to protect him. And as you were saying, they pretty much blow everything to get on top of Songyun, and really the rest of the team wasn't there to follow up with any damage. You could see Mickey is out of position. Linderong wasn't able to get in range to heroic entrance, and everything just goes down the drain for the ROX Tigers.
Really good making up for previous mistakes there from Score, dodging out of the initial Braum Q and then following up with Smev. So really nice synergy to see there between these two relatively new teammates that previously for many years were just rivals.
And here Smeb's just going to try to zone them out. Another shockwave used onto this Braum. Pawn really dislikes the Santa Claus, but he does take him out in the end, so definitely will be worth it. Smeb just going to TP on back, no doubt. Let's see if he actually goes for it. There it is.
There is Fate's Call available still, so Motto is going to be safe.
Yeah, and here's Smeb with the home guard, getting onto Songyun once again. Score is going to be taunted up here by Linderong, but there's no follow-up. It looks like Tigers is just a little bit too far behind. Score going on in, very low on health, but still able to zone them all out.
It's just not enough damage onto this lineup so far. They need the armor penetration items, and because Shen is so fed and he has the Gargoyle Stone Plate, you just saw how much damage this Caitlyn can deal. Until she really completes that Lord Dominix, it's just not going to happen. And I really have to question this build so far from the Caitlyn. Not only did she not have the Hurricane, does she not have Berserker Greaves? Not too sure why there's a Ninja Tabi, considering there's only a Kalista who should never really be in range to attack Caitlyn and or the Lee Sin. I mean, I get maybe Shen on top of her, but normally you would just put the emphasis on your positioning as opposed to your build as your way of staying alive.
Here we go, gonna force out that heroic entrance. Pawn takes a ton of damage, but still alive in this fight. Stand United will come in, and a really nice shockwave there onto Songyun, followed up by the taunt, follow up by Score, doing enough damage to take him out. Now Mickey on the run, Linderong in a bad spot, not able to take out any of these members. Typical Galio, survives forever, doesn't do much, and man, this is just KT cleaning up house after all the other mistakes from ROX.
Wow,
Ooh,
nice Q.
He hits it into the charm. Scory does have his Guardian Angel. Looks like he doesn't want to take the chance.
Well, we can tell just why Songyun was going with a purely defensive build. That's his positioning really just was not the most proud moment there. And now KT just going to easily close this one out in under 40 minutes. Only 5 kills going ROX's way.
Yeah, so there you have it. KT eventually able to pull this one together. Looking to pad their KDA stats here as they do take out the Braum. And there you go. Nexus falls 1-0 KT Rolster.
Pretty good game from them so far. The early game was really good, but a little bit of iffy moments there, especially Score getting caught out when they gave up that Baron. But overall, it's a progress that you want to see from the team that's supposedly making a beeline for the finals against SKT in this summer split. So a good progress from them, and really especially on Mata. Mata has been truly impeccable this game, even though a couple of odd moments, the roams, the ability to enable his teammates and just save so many people were instrumental in them getting into a position that they're able to just clean house in under 40 minutes.
Yeah, definitely was a superstar performance from Mata. There were a couple of rough moments, but I think it was just his confidence overflowing where he's like, no, we got this, we got to go in. Perhaps he's shot calling again.
Oh, you know he's shocked.
Yeah, he's got to be. And you can see the looks of disappointment there on the faces of ROX Tigers. They had some moments where they shone a bit, you know, but not quite as brightly, or as bright, rather, as KT.
Yeah, stars shining in the smogged up city.
Don't make fun of Seoul like that,
I'm
Crumbs.
talking about
You've
Los
been here
Angeles.
for like a week.
I'm talking about Los Angeles, man. That's what I'm talking about. You know, some kids will grow up thinking that the sky is actually not black at night and then it's gray. You know how sad that is?
That is actually kind of sad.
Yeah, that's actually really sad.
LA's not the only city, but here's Linderong making a bit of a mistakey.
Trying to push the wave without any mana on the return route from score. Probably going to see the fight onto the mid lane here. This is where the Stand United comes out, and everybody's going to join onto this. You have Lee Sin coming, save spawn with the final Q. Yeah, the Q would have made the difference. And here comes Mata, saves Smeb. Saves the day.
And score gets out too, because Mickey's too low to follow up any damage at that point.
This is a good little reaction move there from ROX when KT try to get greedy and go for the Herald. Then they collapse and they're able to get a couple of kills. And even though the Herald doesn't go their way, it's still the move that they needed to stay relevant into this game. They got a whole lot out of it. And overall, I was impressed with the macro from these guys. Except, do we have to really? You know better than this. He learned, actually, especially on the pick onto score, not to follow through when the Stand United is out.
You can see his mechanics are usually on point. Really nice dodge on the taunt there from Smeb, and then the follow-up charm onto score. So there are moments, again, where he shows up big, but sometimes he makes a mistake. That's kind of the story of Mickey. Pawn, he's not without mistakes himself, gets caught out there. Either way, the result that comes on through. KT Rolster takes game number 1 in 37 minutes.
Really good performance. It's the ramp up that you want to see, and you can still understand that the cap for this team is unbelievably high, right? Your first kind of really powerhousing all-star team that assembled out of nowhere, surprising everybody, and 21,000 damage for Deft on this Kalista, just being able to melt down all the tanks in the world, everybody that's short range, that relies on trying to get into position, but not the greatest thing for ROX this time around.
Yeah, we'll see if they can shore up their play jumping into game number 2 after just a short commercial break, guys. So we'll see you in just about 8 minutes with game number 2.